In this video, I want to give you a quick rundown and brief Xbox tutorial on the Monoprice Dark Matter arcade fighting stick. So Monoprice just released a new arcade fighting stick under their Dark Matter lineup, and it's pretty dang cool, I have to say. I have one here on loan from Monoprice, and it's been an absolute blast messing around with it. So this stick is fairly premium for what you get. It costs $120, comes with SMWiz switches, a square 8-directional gate, and just every button you could ever hope for, including L3, R3, and a touchpad button up here for PS4 use. And then we also have turbo switches and a stick up here that lets us switch between D-pad, left stick, and right stick, so you can use this on virtually any game. But as far as specs go, it's just your pretty standard fare. This runs on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, Nintendo Switch, and PCs, as well as Android devices, but uses an aluminum frame, has an acrylic front panel here with customizable inserts, so you can swap this galactic theme out for your own, and it's all very easy to mod. It has an included hex screwdriver inside the back case, so you can just customize this however you see fit. But it has a good weight to it at 7.7 pounds or 3,500 grams, and then 15.7 inches by 9.8 inches by 5.2 inches. So just overall pretty nice sized arcade fight stick, arcade pad here. So really cool stuff. But now that we've got that covered, I wanted to show you how to use it on Xbox Retroarch in particular, since that's what most of you on my channel care the most about. So getting the stick set up can be an interesting process, but first up, make sure your Xbox is turned on, then take the included USB cable for the arcade fighting stick and get it plugged in. So now the first thing you'll notice is that this red LED up here turns on. So now just go ahead and hold this button here on the far right until you start seeing the lights alternate. And now we're going to plug in a USB cable to this back pass-through port here, with the other end connected to an Xbox controller, so that way it gives us the pass-through needed to run the controller. Apparently there's add-ons you can use as well that make it so you don't need an actual Xbox controller, but that is beyond the scope of this video. So now that I plug in my Xbox controller, both lights turn on, and then it goes back down to a single red LED, and now I should be able to control my Xbox, and I can. Perfect. So I'm just going to launch into Retroarch. So the main use cases that I was most interested in using this arcade stick for were some arcade games and Neo Geo and Neo Geo CD games. And getting the controller set up on a game-by-game basis is not super complicated. So for example, if I load up Street Fighter 2 here. So by default, the share button is your back button, and then options is your start button. So you can insert coins for the game here, and then just press start to start it up. And we'll just start this up real quick. Hurry up. Alright, so now if I use my Retroarch quick menu hotkeys, which I had set to start and select, there we go. If I go down to controls, port 1 controls. So Final Burn Neo is nice that it actually gives us all of the game's controls in what that game's control scheme would be. So in Street Fighter 2 here, you can see that it says weak punch, weak kick, medium kick, strong punch, strong kick, things like that. So it's easy to map the buttons to where I want them to be on this arcade fight stick. So by default, A is weak kick, B is strong kick, or medium kick rather, and then X is light punch, and then Y is medium punch. So those are both how I want them to be. The problem with the default mapping for an arcade stick, right trigger is set to 3 times kick, which is not what I want. I want that to be my strong kick, so that way we could do light, medium, strong. So right trigger, I'm going to change this to strong kick. So there we go, 1, 2, 3. And then I could turn my left trigger to that kick times 3 type thing right here. So that way it's just all kicks on the bottom. And now for my strong punch, that needs to be set to right bumper. So that was set to strong kick by default. So we're going to change that up to strong punch. And then for left bumper, I might as well change that over to that punch times 3. Hello? Alright, so let's make sure everything took effect here. So left bumper, strong, or punch times 3, right bumper, strong punch, left trigger, kick times 3, right trigger, strong kick. So there we go. That is all the controls for this game mapped how I would want them to be. So now I'm just going to save the remap file, and I'm going to save this as a game remap file because I don't want to save this as a core remap because these are not the controls that are going to be working for every single game. And there we go. So now if I go back into gameplay, so we've got Dalzim kicking my butt. So there we go. Weak kick, medium kick, strong kick, light punch, medium punch, strong punch. And then everything working as intended here. Yep, perfect. So this is exactly how I want it. Oh no, he's killing me. But now just for another example of customizing the controls for an arcade stick. Controls, port 1 controls. And here we go. So, pretty much the same thing as Street Fighter here from Marvel vs. Capcom, but weak kick, medium kick, weak punch, medium punch. Left bumper is strong punch, which we don't want. We want that to be on right bumper again. And then left bumper can be punch times 3. Then right trigger, I want it to have on strong kick. And then kick times 3. There we go. And then save it as a game remap file once again. And then my other use case was for Neo Geo games, as I stated earlier, and Neo Geo is a lot nicer because I believe nearly every Neo Geo game uses the same 4-button layout. So going into my control page here, port 1 controls, you can see that A and B are mapped to A and B respectively, and I want to remap right trigger and left trigger to C and D, so these are set to X and Y by default. Yeah, C and D for X and Y. So if you want to do it like that, you can. I would prefer just to have them all 4 in a straight line, like on the real Neo Geo pad. Or an arcade stick, rather, because I mean the Neo Geo CD pad had them all like this. But right trigger, we'll change that to C. And then left trigger, we'll change that to D. And there we go. And then you can also do other combos as well if you want to put those back on X and Y. So headed like BCD and then ABC. There we go. That way we don't lose any of the emulated functionality here as well. But on this one, I'm going to go ahead and save this as a core remap file. So that way every time I load up a Neo Geo game, it's already set to A, B, C, and D. And then going back into my game, I could give it a test and begin playing the game. And now for Neo Geo CD, it's pretty much the same process. This one uses a 4-button pad as well. So going into controls, port 1 controls. Let's see here. So A and B are mapped to A and B, and then C and D are mapped to X and Y again. So let's go ahead and add those to right and left trigger. So right trigger first, we'll make that one C. And then left trigger, we'll make that one D. And then we could add all those other interesting button assignments if we want to as well. So for example, we can make X, A, and B. And then, or Y rather. Make X, C, and D. We'll have those a little backwards, whatever. It doesn't matter too much right now. And then the right bumper and left bumper we can have on bigger combos like this, just for easier selection. There we go. Cool. Oops. And then save them as a core remap file because every game should have the same controls on this system. Oops. C to exit. We don't want to do that. But anyway, let's go ahead and start this up, see how it plays. And it's pretty much exactly how you would expect. And I just totally ran by that prisoner, whatever. And of course, you can use this stick for any number of use cases and cores and games on the Xbox itself. Those were just what I was most interested in using it for personally. But I mean, here we are playing Atari 2600 Missile Command with it. And it just feels friggin' awesome. But that's going to do it for this kind of brief overview video slash sort of tutorial, I guess. If you're curious about checking out the Monoprice Arcade Fighting Stick, there will of course be links in the description below to the product listing. But thank you again to Monoprice for sending this arcade stick out my way for me to try out. It's been a lot of fun messing around with it. And then of course, big thank you to each and every one of you for watching today's video. But I do have a couple of big favors here at the end. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that dislike button, just depending on how much you like today's video. And also that sub button and notification bell so you can see when new content comes live on the channel. I have loads coming your way, and I'd love to have each and every one of you along for the ride. For anyone interested in further helping out the channel and keeping it going, you can also check out that join button here on YouTube, or the Patreon link in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen when it pops up. Big shout out to all of our current backers. Thank you for believing what we do here and helping us keep it going. Y'all are amazing and appreciate you so much. But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you back next video.